Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the conversation, which is Cafe Ngoma's interview session. Today we have a very, very special guest who's very key on social impact and change, and he goes by the name of Magana Kenyatta. Let's get to know him together and get to hear what he has to say. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Asante sana,
How's
Steve.
it going, man?
I'm easy, my
Good to
brother.
have you here.
Asante sana.
I like how easy you are, even though you're that guy.
Well, you have to be approachable and just be yourself.
Yes.
Be approachable, and this is what life is, my people in Africa. Yes. We're all about the warmth.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
You're my brother, you're my sister, you're my uncle, you're my,
Yes.
Let's meet on the streets, let's say hello.
Okay.
You see? Unlike in Europe, or in the States, it's cold, it's brash. Nobody has time for that handshake and the tete-a-tete that is African.
Yes.
Yeah.
First things first, the reason why we're actually talking about being warm is because I've mentioned the name Kenyatta, and then I've mentioned social impact and change, which what actually I mean is you're into politics and trying to develop the community and the country. Tell us more about that.
Well, before we jump into the politics situation, that's just a happenstance.
Yes.
Let me introduce myself to Africa and your audience as well.
Yes.
My name is Magana, as you heard. Born and bred in M.C.A Kalimoni, an odd 30-something years ago.
Okay.
This is when I was born and bred as a farmer's son.
Yeah.
I'm a lover of nature, animal lover, breeder as well. Livestock husbandry is my thing.
Yes.
And growing up, basically speaking, in the village, I'm a country boy, the true Kenyan hillbilly.
Okay.
I grew up with all kinds of people around me, you see, and I used to love mingling with the staff kids in the quarters, playing football when I was younger, and I used to get into problems with my parents then. But that showed me a different total side. It opened a side into me of humanity and compassion that most people today in Kenya don't have. Due to the struggles, I hate Nairobi for that, Nobody has time for the other. You look at the beggar on the street, you have no time to even give him a hug or even get him a piece of food from your restaurant. So I grew up with these guys and I got molded by all these interactions. I speak fluent Kamba, I understand the Luo, I understand Luya, Embu, Meru. So I'm that kid, And I enjoy it for that, but we've lost that touch in today's generation.
Why do you think so?
Generation X on Twitter. Just go on Twitter and see the kind of garbage that's on the TL, you see. No, except, what's his name? Einstein?
Yeah, Albert Einstein.
Saw this coming. He said there's going to be a point in life that we won't have time for human contact, which is now. You're on your phone 24/7, aren't you? You go for dinner, not unless your mom unplugs the Wi-Fi. That's only when you're going to discuss issues concerning your family. So I am that guy who's bringing family together across the board. Through social change, education, civic education as well. And that has molded me into the gentleman I am today.
Talking about a background in actually working on something based on where you're coming from. What have you done? I know you're a businessman. You've had a hand in boreholes and etc. and water etc. Tell us more about that.
Well, in 1998, I had the opportunity to partner with my parents, and we started a company in Juja. And there's a borehole that was there. We supplied water to about 2,500 homes by piping about 50 kilometers of water to the residents. As it grew, as the neighborhood grew, the more connections we got. And through this daily interaction with people from all across Kenya and Africa, because we did even have expatriates living in the same community, I came to be the guy to see in case of any problems. If your wife is having a baby in the middle of the night, call Magana. He's always, if your car got stuck in the mud somewhere, call him. He'll bring his tractor, he'll bring his, his friends or whatever. And through that, we were able to grow the community. Through the boreholes and the interactions with these people who came in to buy their plots, half acre, quarter acre, etc. We gave in some land that was developed into a chief's camp now, an administration police camp now, which through consecutive changes of government in terms of governance, the MPs and whatnot, we found a chance now to even build a small school there. So in the whole larger Kalimoni area, I've grown up with so many people around me. I've touched onto the hospitals in terms of there's quite recently I brought in a friend of mine from Germany.
Okay.
He came to KNH to do some research for fistula.
Yes.
And through that, he imparted some wisdom. He was a gynecologist in Germany for about 30 odd years, 35 years actually.
Yes.
And then he recently retired and decided he wants to come to Kenya, do some research, help the doctors who are here. And through that, maybe even open up a small practice of his own, to teach the doctors themselves how to do this in, with the equipment that we have here.
Yes.
Apart from that, well, we can basically say Kalimoni remembers me most for being the guy who loves his rib, his mbavu, his nyama choma.
Tell us about the inn. Tell us about the Magana.
The Muigai Inn.
The Muigai Inn, rather.
My uncle, who rest his soul in peace, owned the place.
Okay.
He passed on a year ago.
Yeah.
And every time we used to come from school, we'd pass by there for a rib.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we'd always be there. And he was a strong, bolstering anchor in our family.
Yeah.
He was my dad's brother who I used to go to when I had problems.
Yeah.
You see, if I needed to confide in someone that I didn't really think the topic was good enough to speak, I couldn't approach my dad about.
Yes.
Maybe there was some girlfriend somewhere who had dumped me or whatever. He was a guy who used to give me advice.
Yes.
And sometimes he taught me how to be, strong.
Yeah.
Don't let people run over you wherever you are.
Yeah.
Learn to say no.
Yes.
Tough love pays.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Through that, my cousins and I, who still do live in Kenyatta Road, we are the people to see.
Yes.
For the youth, the guys who are doing alcohol, drugs and whatnot, when they're going through withdrawal, when they need to go to rehab, we're the people who put them back online.
Okay.
We take you to a rehab facility, maybe perhaps. If you don't want to go through that route, we counsel you.
Yes.
The border riders around there who've got problems with the cops, with the local administration and whatnot, we arbitrate for them in that kind of situation.
Yes.
And that is who I am in Kalimoni, per se, right now.
Many times when an individual is running for a seat of power, us kawaida Kenyans, or the normal Kenyan, normally thinks that you guys come up with so much content that will drive your agenda and finally ultimately get you in. But tell us the flip side of the story, based on you being real, as to why you really want to serve the people of Kalimoni.
It takes a certain kind of zeal to be a selfless giver.
Yes.
This Valentine's past, I sponsored 50 young girls with sanitary pads for a year.
Okay.
At the St. Patrick's School for the Mentally Challenged in Thika. There's an NGO that does this for 450 per girl. And that's per year. So I'm like, listen, why can't I do this every year?
Okay.
That's one of the major things I do. I support the less fortunate in society. And sometimes my missus is not happy about it.
Okay.
She's like, you don't have time for us now.
Yes.
When will people ever stop knocking on our door, looking for help here and there?
Yes.
I'm like, it will never stop because that's me.
Yes.
Besides the point, Kalimoni is where I grew up. Growing up in that situation where it used to be the pearl of Juja constituency, the president used to pass by there going home on Kenyatta Road, it was clean, spick and span. There was no solid waste anywhere. And today you'd be surprised how the place looks. I'm trying to look for the proper words because these people really annoy me. The guys who I'm trying to keep it PG on this one. They really annoy me. The stench of raw effluent coming in from the flats, onto the roads. The roads themselves are so pathetic. And yet we've got about 60-75% of all the mines that do this Darugo machine cut stones, as they're so called. Nairobi skyscrapers are funded by Juja constituency's wealth in mining. Where does the cess go? Where does the money that's taxed to these trucks go? We have no roads. Solid waste management is a problem. If you check my Twitter handle the past 1 week.
What's the Twitter handle, by the way?
It's at Magana Kenyatta. With a double T, no spaces. I've been ranting about solid waste management. And I have this idea that every school should be transformed to a mini collection center or processing plant of solid waste.